Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy new month. It's March 1st.
It is after the leap day.
Hello, the Connected. We're here with podcast number
Connected.
39. We're going to be talking about some discussions. Thanks for joining us on your platform of choice.
The very topic of discussion.
One thing I wanted to note before we get started on the podcast here
What is happening?
is that we're very close to two different milestones for both of our Twitch and our YouTube channel. So if you want to drop us a sub or a follow on Twitch to get us to YouTube 250 subscribers and on Twitch 200 followers, we would love to reach those numbers. So thank you.
I thought you were taking off your hat and we're going to be like,
I'm
would you
bald.
like to purchase a wonderful live connection hat?
Okay, we can't plug too much stuff at the beginning.
$25. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Peter, run the Raid Shadow Legends commercial.
For the record, though, the live connection cap, it's become my go-to ball cap in almost any situation because it looks good forward and you know front facing that logo, but it actually also works excellently if you backwards cap it, and I really appreciate that.
So if you want to own a hat that can be your go-to hat,
yeah,
you should purchase a Live Connection hat by emailing us at liveconnection@gmail.com.
Why don't they just DM us on any social media platform? What Zoomer is going to email us?
Yeah. I mean,
Zoom.
to give full disclosure, we're not drowning in merch requests just yet, so you could really contact us in any form.
We have a surplus of
really nice.
I think it's like maybe 20 something hats. So
Okay. I hope you enjoyed this pre-recorded commercial for Live Connection Studios. Peter, roll the podcast, please.
We're live.
All right, we're live.
Welcome to
podcast number 39. Hope you enjoyed our roll there. Little ad roll.
When Evan said, "Yeah, I got the intro this time, guys," I didn't know it was going to be an extended ad.
Yeah,
It wasn't supposed to be, but
I also fondly remember sitting in front of my tiny TV watching movies on VHS when I was a kid, and every time I finished the tape and I rolled it back, I would go.
why?
Did you like power up the VCR as it was rewinding?
how mind-numbingly slow is that back in the day? Like rewinding your
Oh
VHS
my
tapes,
goodness.
and you'd want to watch a movie and you'd find out that it was like at the end and you're like, God damn it. And it literally took like, 2 minutes
did
to
you guys-
do it? But
Because you could get those little boxes that could rewind them faster.
Yeah.
We had one that broke the one day, and it kept going after it hit the end point, so it like broke the reel. So it was just like spinning, and we're just like, no.
Gross. What? So you like took it out of that little thing, and the little things
the
inside were
tabs.
spinning, and you're like, something's wrong.
we got to see a lot of weird technologies growing up. Like we weren't just like born like the Zoomers where Facebook was already a thing, and freaking like you could get your diapers Amazoned right to your house and everything. No, we grew up in a time where, we just had to make the best of it, but we got to see everything.
Who is touching a mouse?
Oh, is that? Oh, I'm
Why?
No, I didn't
Why?
realize.
trying to get
I
the
didn't
screen
realize it was
working.
Why?
I thought it was hooked up to this TV. I realized we had a blank screen.
Yeah, we got.
Okay, I don't know why, but that computer randomly shuts off.
Oh wow!
Like it's not supposed to do that.
Okay, all right. Well, sorry to be of a disturbance. I just thought maybe you'd appreciate a non.
You know what was one thing on the topic of VHSs?
Yeah. What do you? Okay,
I thought you were going to
topic of-
crouch and whisper.
I was
in his
really
ear,
threatened
sorry.
for a second.
On the topic of VHSs, Matt and I made a discovery today. Well, Matt made it a while ago, but he informed me on it because we were watching the new Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution movie.
That's the one. I was
Netflix.
going to say it's on Netflix.
Yeah,
now.
the 3D one. It was actually pretty good. Pretty
Really-
absolutely faithful to the original. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost a shot-for-shot remake. They had a couple new scenes in there as well, and dive into the prologue a bit more. But what I found interesting is that they, how near the end of the movie, when at the climax, that brother song comes on, like brother. So apparently, because Matt grew up in the UK when he was a small boy, his VHS copy had a different song on it.
Yeah,
from the UK.
so Jack got me that 3-movie collection for our Secret Santa, and I was watching the first movie, and it starts playing that song, and it was the first time I'd heard it in my life, and I was like,
That's not the song.
yeah, and so it, like in my version, which I had like a UK VHS, it just played like some part of the soundtrack that like you heard a lot, and just played it over that part, and it was like. It was weird because we were talking about it, and like Evan's like, yeah, I like the song a lot more. I'm like, no, I don't like the song. I liked it better the way it was before. But I guess that's just how like childhood nostalgia works, right? Like you always are gonna value the thing that you had growing up and everything. But it was just weird, man. It was a fascinating situation, but it was also
It's like a
song,
disconnect.
yeah. The song started playing, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Did that ruin that movie for you? The experience.
It was so
one song.
It was
Yeah,
so
I feel like
American and so 90s, you know? It's like it wasn't out of place at all, but it was still really strange to see. And it's, you know, the footage, for lack of a better term, is still the same because it's, you know, the Japanese animation. It's not going anywhere. And so like the song is like, oh, it's sad that we're fighting because we're brothers or something. But in my version, it had like the sad kind of symphonic soundtrack where it's like, da-na-na-na-na, and you're watching all the Pokemon like fall over each other, and you're like, man, this is sad. Yeah, so for Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution, they did away with both of those, and they just kind of did something different. I really, really liked it though. I think it's one of those things where the trailers did not make it look like super appealing. The trailers really highlighted a lot of like just the not very good looking aspects of it, and there are some characters and some parts that don't look super good, but overall, I mean, it's a nice step. It's very refreshing.
Before you watched it, you were like kind of concerned about the animation style, and like I haven't seen it. I still feel that way. So now, how do you feel?
I was a lot happier with the final results. What is kind of unfortunate though is I think the characters that look the weirdest in the 3D animation style are, well, Brock and Misty we decided are actually kind of okay, but Ash looks really, really weird, and it's a bit troublesome considering he's the main character.
Yeah.
Yes. Like those 3 other trainers that are on the New Island or whatever, Numa Island. Numa. But those 3 trainers translated perfectly to 3D. Like they look exactly like my mind pictured them in even in the original movie. So like some things just didn't transition well.
I find that with a lot of the Pokemon, even through generations, it's like every time they upgrade the art style or they change something in the art style, everything but Ash translates really well.
Are you talking about like the movies, shows?
I'm talking more of the shows.
Okay.
Not so much the movies. I haven't kept up with all the movies. Like the last one I saw was I think that one. And besides that, I've just been watching the shows. But I don't know. I find when they get to the new generations, they always change something subtle about the artwork. Oh yeah. But it always stands out on Ash.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just because he's such a focal point of the show.
See him so much.
And I think we're so used to seeing him so many different ways. It's probably like you probably get a similar reaction when they change voice actors, you know?
Yeah,
like,
they did.
Yeah, because they kept all the new voice actors for the characters in this one. So I don't actually know the name of Ash's current voice actor, but you know she did all the lines for like the original Ash, right? And it's weird not hearing that original Ash voice in the movie and stuff. But yeah, it's also weird with Ash because they've made a lot more drastic changes in the past few seasons or generations of the anime. They did this huge shift in the art style for the Sun and Moon anime, and everybody really disliked it. And I thought it was a bit unusual at first.
It
but
was almost like less.
Yeah.
Like the quality almost like went down.
Yeah, but the Sun and Moon anime, I've said this a bunch of times before. The Sun and Moon anime is honestly excellent. I really, 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 really like it. I won't go into too much detail about it, but it's awesome. But then now they're on this new season of the anime, and they've changed Ash's art style again. Obviously, he's got a new outfit. New outfit's a little bit whatever. But he's got these big brown eyes, and it's like really unusual because like they almost turned Ash's eyes into like dots in the Alola Generation 7 anime, and then they're like they kind of clicked on it and grabbed that box in the corner. We're like you know. Yeah. I'm excited for that new anime to start premiering in the like rest of the world, because it looks really good, and it's cool. I follow a lot of like anime Pokemon or Pokemon anime, like I want to say content creators, for lack of a better term, on Twitter, and they post a lot of like clips of the new anime and stuff, and they got a lot of good stuff going for them. Ash actually doesn't suck anymore, so that's pretty nice. He caught a Dragonite. Do you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard
Ash caught a freaking.
He finally did it.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool because like. You know, I saw, because like I go on a website, cerebi.net, which is a huge hub for like Pokemon
just a small site, you know.
There's barely any information there.
And they always report like what the upcoming episode is, and I saw that they're going to like a Dragonair sanctuary, and I'm like, freaking Z, like whatever. And then it's like Ash character biography upgraded, and he gets a freaking Dragonite, and you're like, what?
When was the first time you guys came across Cerebi? Because I remember someone telling me about the website when I was like young, and like I was like, "What do you mean, Cerebi? That doesn't even sound like Pokemon." And then like, no, seriously, it's a massive site. You can know everything about them. I was like, I don't know, that seems too far fetched, man. And then sure as shit, there she blows. I've used that website so much.
I used it a lot since Diamond and Pearl. Before with Emerald and stuff like that, I had like one of the books that you get.
Those books!
I had like a big Pokemon book that had all the.
I might have.
I think you might have the same one that I had.
I had the Gen 4 book.
Yeah.
That I got from the Scholastic Book Fair. That thing was my freaking Bible.
Yeah, this thing had everything. This thing had everything from the first first of the ones that we really had, which was Fire Red and Leaf Green, and then it kind of went on from there.
Yeah.
Those
things are so useful.
I used the shit out of mine.
Yeah, they broke down every route, where you can catch Pokemon. Like, I find a lot of websites just don't do a good job of like showing you that information.
But there is nothing worse, because nowadays, I mean, when they're like, oh, you have to get this Pokemon via trade or via transfer, you're like, no problem. Back in the day with Emerald, when it was like, you need to trade this Pokemon to evolve it or something, you're like, no, I'm never getting it.
It's still kind of a hassle if you only got one DS, because you pretty much have to, or one Switch, you pretty much have to freaking call a friend and be like, hey.
Yeah, but at least you can do it online now.
Yeah.
Well, you need to have someone that's willing to trade you the thing back, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure if you asked any of us in the at least me,
I'm gonna hold it ransom.
Yeah. Well, no, like,
what are you gonna give me to get this back?
It's still kind of an inconvenience, because like you gotta text someone, they might not be available, and like rather than just like freaking giving the thing a Firestone, which takes 5 seconds.
It's a very small inconvenience though in 2020.
5 to 10 minute process just to get it. Like,
but you didn't have to worry about, like, back in the day, you had to be like, okay, who has a fucking cable to link up our Game Boy so that we can do this trade, and then you find that you try to set up a time, and then you gotta text the parent, or you gotta call or ask your parents, can I have a play date with so and so I can go trade this Pokemon?
I never traded any Pokemon with a link cable, not once, because I never knew anyone with
I did
one.
once with Mitch when we kept trying to do like our all night finish Emerald in one night, not realizing how big of a game, and it was inevitable. It would never happen. We always would get to I think the Psychic Gym, and then after that it would just go downhill for us.
That's pretty far in the game.
That's decent.
We pretty much just have to catch the Legendary and then beat the last gym after that.
No, Emerald's a little bit longer than Ruby and Sapphire in that way, though, because you go to the Cave of Origin, and instead of fighting Kyogre or Groudon, Wallace is just like, yo, you ever heard of the Sky Pillar? You got to find your way there. You got to navigate all the puzzles. You got to find Rayquaza. You got to go back to Sutopula City.
Yeah.
And then if you're stubborn like me, I sit there for about 2 hours trying to catch it with a Pokeball instead of the Master Ball.
I find it's a lot easier to catch legendary Pokemon these days than it was back in those original generations.
Well, it also didn't help that Rayquaza was like level 79 when you faced him.
70.
Level 70, yeah.
And it was just like, you'd get there and all your Pokemon would be like maybe level 50 if you're lucky, and then you're sitting there getting absolutely pumped, but you don't want to kill it, because you can always get it down to that red zone, but then you're like, what the hell am I supposed to use? And your biggest panic is, when am I going to run out of stat moves on this thing?
That's always really tough.
Pokeballs or something, and then just restart.
Exactly.
It is a bit unfortunate, because, I mean, Peter hasn't finished the game, but honestly, it's been long enough. Sword and Shield brought nothing like that. So there's 2 legendaries that you can catch. Actually, I don't really want to spoil it because
Yeah,
it was
don't spoil the
something
one.
that I enjoyed. But
There's 2 legendaries.
yeah,
but
the first legendary that you catch, I haven't researched it. I don't think people know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's guaranteed catch because you get 1 ball to throw at it.
Well, what happens if you like
that they give you?
I don't know. When I do my sword playthrough, no, it's not one that they give you. When I do my sword playthrough, I'm gonna
Not
minimize my chances of
throw the
catching
ball
it.
right away?
Yeah. But then for the second legendary, it will just stay there if you defeat it. So you can throw balls until you pass out. Basically, if you use a master ball on it, you're a fool. And yeah, it's one of the kind of complaints that people had is because Sword and Shield really doesn't have a post game. It's unfortunate that they don't give you these extra areas to explore.
Leave them alone. We're talking about Pokemon.
Hey, I didn't even bring Pokemon up.
I'm not threatening you yet.
You're holding the gun. That is literally what you do when you threaten people with the gun.
I'm not. It's not pointed at you.
You're holding it.
It's not on the trigger.
Holster your weapon. Holster your weapon.
Holster that weapon.
I'm not going
soldier.
to continue talking till you holster your weapon. Thank
Matt,
you.
you better continue talking because I have a topic that I want to talk
Oh,
about that
yeah,
I'm also
yeah.
equally passionate about.
I wasn't planning on going a bunch into detail about Pokemon. There's not much to say, so I'm going to wrap it up with some finishing thoughts.
There's not much to say as we're 20 minutes into the podcast.
Oh my God, Peter!
and you guys
I'm
are
joking.
mad that I was going to use
just-
half the podcast for Fallout
You wanted to
76.
wa- no, I wasn't mad that you were going to talk about it. I was mad you wanted to watch. I wasn't even mad. I just didn't want to watch a video.
Anyway,
You were
podcast.
correct. I retract my comment.
Any whizzle. Yeah, and so the Sword and Shield DLC will fix that up a little bit, but like it is kind of an unfortunate thing that you play the base game Sword and Shield and it doesn't bring that same post game experience a lot of other ones have.
There's just certain experiences that the original generations, and I hate sounding like a freaking boomer, being like the original generations are the best, but there's certain experiences that you just is not recreated in
Yeah.
new
I
games.
find them more
Nostalgia.
difficult. Like I've been enjoying, because I've been playing Pokemon Sword, or I think it was Sword that I got.
Yeah.
And I've been enjoying it. Like it's a fun game. Like it's not. I'm not done it, so I can't be like, oh, it's not the best Pokemon, or hey, it is the best Pokemon. But at the same time, I'm like, I find that even previous, like some of the last couple of generations, they just haven't been as difficult to get through. Like I found Fire Red, or even like when you played the originals like Yellow and it was just it was freaking hard.
You're
like,
missing Pokeballs.
yeah,
Like
it was so challenging, and then you run into things. I mean, you're also younger, so we got to take in mind that we didn't necessarily have the problem solving skills that we have today.
Yeah.
I'm playing White right now, as I was just trying to do it to get Pokemon to put in my Pokemon home, but then I ended up getting really into it, and I always have been raving that Pokemon, like Gen 5 was the worst generation. Like those games sucked. But now that I'm playing it again, I realize that I only hated them because I was playing them at a time in my life where I was kind of like Pokemon'd out. Like I just was done with Pokemon at that point. And it wasn't until Y that I kind of got brought back in. So like literally the next gen. But but yeah, no, White is hard. I find myself getting wiped out quite often, actually, and then having to scurry back to the Poke Center.
Yeah,
and everything.
I think
Scurry
what's
back.
so
That's what they say.
I like that. No, I like that.
that's literally
The
what
description,
they
they're like
say.
scurried back to the
Yeah.
Pokemon Center.
I think what's so unfortunate is that like with every new generation they make these massive strides and these amazing improvements. Like Generation 8 should be by far the best games because they did this. They introduced this raid system. They introduced the wild area. They did so much hype, amazing stuff. But then the Game Freak also constantly just lets themselves and everyone else down by just making bad decisions or just doing stuff not good. I mean, bring back the National Dex stuff, whatever that is, like that's one thing, but then it's also like the fact that Sword and Shield really did feel like they weren't delivering as robust of an experience as any of the past generation games did. It is
Sun
just such a
and Moon
bummer,
suck.
you know? Yeah,
Sun and
yeah.
Moon suck.
We've been talking about this a lot lately, actually. Like just kind of rating past generations and stuff like that. Like the Pokemon Sword and Shield that we're gonna have after however many expansion passes they do is gonna be by far the best Pokemon game. And I don't wanna even be quoting people that complain about it constantly, but it is, even though I will give Pokemon any amount of money that they ask for, it is frustrating that to get the game experience that we felt like we should have had delivered to us originally.
You have to play Temtem.
We got to shut the fuck up.
Kindred Fates, baby. Kindred Fates.
Just kind of complementing that idea. I feel like that's a lot of things now, because I feel like companies are trying to, as much as we shit on a lot of companies right now, and I mean, whether it's rightfully so or not is a different discussion altogether, but it's they're trying to do different things. Like, we're so used to a certain way games are, we're so used to a certain thing, and a lot of companies are now trying to test stuff, and who are they going to test on? Because if they test on themselves, of course to them the game is probably pretty good because they designed the game. You hope that when someone designs the game, they're like, you know what, I like this game that I have designed.
I mean, like, they surely do like focus groups and stuff. Like,
They must.
They do, but I mean, I feel like you don't truly get feedback on your game until it is public in front of your larger
like
audience.
in an alpha or a beta.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Like,
So it's like, and I think that's where we have to also be like, yeah, okay, they should have had this, they could have had that. But at the same time, maybe at the time they did think this is the game they wanted, and maybe that was feedback they had received and they changed how they wanted to go about it. Because at the end of the day, it is the community that you want to appeal to. But at the same time, you do need to push the community in a direction to try new things, because otherwise you're just going to get the same game with a different paint over it, a different title, and then you're like, look at this wonderful game.
That seems to be what people want, because look at the top selling games of all time, or Call of Duty games. What are some really celebrated games that mimic the formula other games already had? Like, you know, Undertale is exactly like, it's a Mother remake pretty much. And I mean, look at Stardew Valley. That's just Harvest Moon. People loved Harvest Moon. So like, you can see that people don't really want new experiences. So it's kind of uncharted territory to see what actually is going to stick on the wall.
Well, like,
sorry, go Peter.
I was just supposed to say, like, when you think about like businesses and stuff, you're always supposed to like take an idea and just improve on it in some way, you know. And so it's like the same application to what you're saying.
It's kind of nice to see, like, again, whether it's a bad choice or not, it's kind of nice to see companies trying to change something, because like at least it shows that they're trying to make their game a little bit better. Whether it worked or not is a whole nother thing, but they are trying to do something different, and I mean, I appreciate that, even though some of the games that have tried something different I have shit on, but that's that feedback, right? Like, they need to see that, okay, this didn't work quite the way they thought it would work. So
that's fair. Speaking of games that didn't work quite the way they were supposed to work.
I was using that as my.
I was also gonna say that.
Say one last. I just want to say one last Pokemon thing, just on the
Get
lines
the squirt
of
gun.
the legendaries. No, just on the lines of like the legendaries and how things feel easier in the newer games. I saw a tweet on Twitter the other day that made me chuckle, because it was like, legendaries nowadays, like freaking Zamazaka, whatever the heck its name is, like, just stays there after you kill it. You can easily catch it with however many Pokeballs. Back in Gen 3, lol, I don't know, learn Braille, kid.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a hard thing to tackle. It's difficult to think about. I really kind of resolved to like not feel entitled to a certain experience from games anymore and just start appreciating things for what they are. But I don't know, it's like, you compare like the way that the Pokemon franchise is handled in video games specifically to the way that like Super Smash Brothers is handled, you know, like there's so much effort and kind of care that's put into the Smash Bros franchise, and it really elevates the experience of playing it. And Pokemon is just this beloved franchise that people can't get enough of, and people are always going to flock back to it. But it's just such a shame that the developers of the game are just so.
I disagree that they're completely. They're not putting any passion to it. Like, how many new Pokemon designs do you actually like? And this, that's. Anyways, I'll just leave it at that. Jared, your turn.
Yeah, sorry.
No, finish your thought. Because I feel like
how many Pokemon
I feel like
designs?
if we're in the middle of a topic, even if it's going on, we should still finish it.
Yeah,
I don't think we should just cut it off.
I'm saying, like, there's still designs and things that they did in the game that,
but they
there was passion behind it, and you enjoy it, you know.
Yeah,
but they still have a bad track record of implementing poorly designed things or outdated or whatever.
But Nintendo does. Nintendo as a whole has a tendency to do that as well. Nintendo is like the king of just throwing shit and just seeing if anyone's gonna like it.
It's freaking chimpanzees in the jungle are like Nintendo. I bow to thee.
Yeah, well, I mean, freaking look at the Wii. What the fuck was that for a video game console?
Yeah,
but it's
both of
but
them.
it worked. But it worked.
Yeah,
it was freaking crazy, man.
still works.
The banana controllers.
The Wii still fucking works.
But yeah, anyways, that's all I have to say.
Dusty says hello.
Hello,
Hey,
Dusty.
Dusty,
Dusty.
welcome.
So Jared, you had some Fallout 76 things?
Yes.
I'm really
So
hot.
Bethesda did a games day which they do occasionally for little updates they'll do on games coming out or games that are out and updates that are coming out.
Is it like a blog post sort of thing?
No, it's like an actual event. Like they host panels and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Where they'll
okay.
actually do like video on. They'll have the designers, the artists there to talk about their game.
Mm-hmm.
They did one for the new Doom coming out as well, but I didn't pay as much attention to that one. I was more interested because I feel like Doom they've done a pretty good job with track record wise for good games. So I was more worried about the game currently that is of issue with Bethesda, and which was Fallout 76. So they basically did a panel for I think it was like 28 minutes or something on the new Wastelanders add-on that's coming out, the free update that they're doing.
It's a free update.
Yeah,
It's not
they're
like
they're
DLC or
fully
expansion.
updating the
Is
thing
that
for
the
free.
NPC one?
Yep.
Okay.
Which is like
They're finishing the game.
the thing with this, and this is what because I've been playing a little bit of Fallout 76 to do my Fallout videos, and
poor soul.
it's as much as I gave it like shit, the story is there. The only thing, like again, one of my biggest complaints with this, and I've kind of said this in the beginning, is that when you do the quest, it just feels like you're doing it for someone that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Have you been recording when you do this?
A little bit, not too much.
Because like one cool thing maybe we could do is like the game before and after the update.
Yeah, I could start.
that's
I could
cool.
start recording some stuff more now,
Just an
because it's
idea.
not coming out till April, and I need to get that video out before
April. Did they delay it?
I don't think so. I think it's always been April.
Did they just never give a release?
Well, because
date?
I know like they delayed it late last year, but I thought it was supposed to come out earlier.
no,
this year.
they haven't changed it from my knowledge since they
okay.
delayed it the first time.
April. So yeah, wow.
But yeah, they were doing the panel, and I mean, I was watching it. To me, they've kind of touched on everything that people were complaining about. Even in games that before, like Fallout 4, one of the biggest complaints was that their dialogue options were very limited to 4 options, whereas past Fallouts had multiple options you could choose from. They relied more on the special system and stuff like that, whereas Fallout 4, once you had charisma above 6, you could literally BS your way through the entire game and not really care.
the whole game had like softened edges.
Yeah, and that was one of the things where Fallout New Vegas fans were biggest arguments towards Fallout New Vegas being the best Fallout was their like dialogue options were so advanced. I don't want to get into that topic. That's a whole nother thing because I'm also currently playing through that game, and that is really tough right now with the graphics they have on that game. It is not an easy game to play anymore. But yeah, they were doing the big release, and their updates were pretty insane. Like they're not just adding NPCs, they're adding with all their a lot of their dungeons, they're doing internal team zones. So it's like the dungeon's always full for you. And that's one thing that I ran into with Fallout 76 on my own is I would go to an area where there's a mission. Obviously, there was supposed to be a bunch of enemies there, but you'd go
Someone else
there.
came and killed them.
Yeah, someone else came and killed them. So I'd just
okay,
walk in there and
okay.
be like, this is wonderful. Or you'd have leveled zones where it's like certain areas would have higher leveled people, which they got rid of entirely. So now, say you have someone who doesn't have, who's not a Fallout 76 player prior to this update, they can now play with their friend if they're like level 300. Right, like they'll scale the enemy damage to the person. So it's like
that's cool.
So if you were playing with your level 10, the level 10 person and the level whatever person will do similar damage, even though the higher level person will have a way superior
Yeah.
weapon
Pretty
class.
sure Diablo uses that system too.
Yeah.
For difficulty.
Dude, I feel like level scaling is so important. I feel like RPGs need level scaling. Pokemon needs it. Not to go back to that topic, but Pokemon needs it.
They're also doing a lot of I was noting here the camp system. They're updating the budget for it. So one of the big complaints with camp system was it was too small. Like people thought they were going to take Fallout 4's system and then improve on it, but they did improve things on it, but they made it a smaller budget. Like if you ever played Fallout 4, in the top part of your settlement, you just have like a bar when you're building things. and that bar was full. You couldn't build anything else. Like it'd cap out, which is fair because you have to have things load, and if you're overloading the bit rate, then the game's gonna crash. Which the new console should help with. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. But no, they're updating that. But yeah, most of the stuff came with the NPCs, obviously, because that was the main target of this DLC. But I mean, the fact that, and I'll give Bethesda credit, regardless of whether this should have been in the game or not prior to it, which I do think so, because I think an empty game's pretty tough to make interesting, even though they were trying to fill it with people rather than NPCs.
It was a good thought.
Yeah, and
just didn't execute well.
Yeah, and they ended up listening to their fan base, and with this update, I'm glad they're doing it for free. Like that's a lot of time, and even they mentioned in the little reel, they said that their designers almost went over budget because I mean, obviously you budget for the fact that you're not selling this DLC, so you're losing money essentially. Which I mean, that's all aside, you'll probably gain more money down the road. When people,
it's like an reputation.
This is a reputation investment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they said that they were going way over budget because as soon as they got Bethesda kind of let them do what they wanted with the dialogue options, they were saying they had lists on lists of responses that each NPC would have, but obviously you only have so much you can afford to put into the game, right?
Yeah.
But they tried to basically take feedback from Fallout 4, things that people liked about Fallout New Vegas and previous games regarding NPCs, and they tried to implement it from what they've said. Like obviously I haven't played the game, so this is what they're saying they're doing.
Do you believe it?
Based on the video, I think so, yeah.
Because they don't have a great track record.
No, they don't.
One thing I think of is they asked the community what they wanted, the community responded, and then they added those but monetized them, which is kind of just like, hey, that was supposed to be an update.
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
No, and that's true. Like Bethesda does not have a good track record right now. But I mean, I feel like they've gotten shit on enough years in a row now that they might try to do something, because I think they're actually feeling it now rather than before where it was like they were sitting pretty high up there for a while where they could really realistically do whatever they want. Yeah. And when you have a game like, for example, Skyrim, where even though it had its huge amount of glitches and issues, people bought it on multiple consoles over and over again. So that's basically feedback to someone saying
for like 10 years people were buying
and that's essentially feedback to someone saying, you know what, there's issues but we don't care.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, as much as we say that they don't have a good track record, they've also had bad feedback with regards to a game being bad. Like
that's interesting.
I don't get how Bethesda hasn't made just massive moves to try to recover from this, because like you think about how far their reputation has actually fallen. Like 4 years ago when I thought Bethesda, I was always thinking like everything good, like Skyrim, Oblivion, the Fallout games.
Me and Jared pre-ordered Fallout 76.
Because
I trusted Bethesda.
Bethesda's the king. Bethesda's one of the best developers out there. Now when I think of Bethesda, I just think of fucking Todd Howard being like, it just works. It's just so far down in my mind now than what it used to be.
Yeah, and I know I've told you guys this story before, but like I constantly just recall the sentence, Bethesda doesn't know how to make a video game in my mind.
Yeah.
and you know, that's the idea in my mind. I think about I'm like, Skyrim obviously is a really enjoyable and groundbreaking experience, but you play it in 2020 and you're like, this is just a buggy mess. It's just really, like, sometimes you just find it really hard to play because of the way it's put together. And it's hard to appreciate the good out of the games anymore because we've kind of done that for so long. And now the rhetoric is not respecting Bethesda anymore. Yeah.
Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that like a lot of the things that have come out recently, they've been in the work for years, right? It's part of their long-term plan. So because these things are happening now, they're probably making changes now for the things that are going to happen in 3-4 years, you know?
Well, and
so
we hope.
They also got more feedback, and that's one of the reasons they delayed the DLC coming out was because of other feedback they got. Some other things they mentioned before we delve directly into the NPC aspect, they changed a lot of lighting and color effect, which was something that they should have done to begin with. That was like one of the biggest.
Just look brown.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest issues they had with Fallout 4 as well that people complained about. Which I mean, modders changed. Like one of the modders released a green Commonwealth, which actually looked freaking phenomenal, considering. But with Fallout 76, they did a lot of. They're talking about the lighting saturation. They're talking about more like actual lighting effects that would seem more realistic, like in a room like we have.
Yeah.
They also talked about reflections being a little more nice. So things in water or like if you look on a metal object, you should have some sort of reflection coming back. I mean, I don't know. Again, they didn't really delve into it too much because their primary thing was talking about
the actual
the NPCs,
game.
but they just mentioned some of those things, and I'm hoping that they go to that kind of degree with it.
Yeah, that'll make the game look a lot nicer.
But this also is good feedback to have for Fallout, or for future Fallout games and for Elder Scrolls 6 that's been talked about. So
this is when the game like first launched. It's not nearly this bad, but when you're talking about fixing the lighting effects, that's like instantly what I thought of.
Exactly. So you
don't like the way those God rays look?
Well, like there's like look at that. Why are God rays coming through the rock?
Oh right,
it's all broken.
I remember this video too.
So, yeah,
someone that's from a big YouTuber, isn't it? Is that
not this one in particular? I can't remember who it's by.
Yeah, I remember that.
But so they're talking about fixing some of those stuff.
Well, this is all old. I think most of this is fixed.
God rays, aka Todd rays. That's so funny.
Todd rays.
Wow. I just had an idea. Before you go on with that, I think when Bethesda comes out with those updates, depending on how that goes, like I've never played a Fallout game. It would be really cool to try Fallout 76 from scratch after they do all these updates and like. As a Fallout experience and as a Fallout 76 experience, kind of see like how I feel about them, what the thoughts are, if it feels like it's like a worthwhile game. I have Fallout 4 installed on my Xbox and I update it constantly. But
if you do mods on Fallout 4, it's actually like it's still my favorite Fallout.
Yeah,
like there's issues with it, but the issues to me, and the story wasn't as good as past Fallouts. Because what New Vegas and Fallout 3 did with their stories, Fallout 4 kind of just took it, pasted it, and then was like, we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
But as goes like the actual gameplay itself, to me, it's still the better Fallout for gameplay. Like even shooting wise, like Fallout New Vegas shoots like poo, and so at Fallout 3, I mean, you're shooting with a gun over here, so you're looking at the little stylus in the end, right? So
good times.
It's just like I was playing Fallout 3, and it's such a frustrating game to play now because of that, because you're just like, I just want to look down the sights, I don't care.
Fallout 3 remastered.
Yeah.
Yes. Which they should do because that game was phenomenal, but. They did a bunch of stuff talking about with regards to levels, because you're talking about starting from scratch, and I was also thinking about doing that, but I want to kind of take it at two realms, because I have one player already made, and one character already made, and I want to utilize that. But apparently the NPCs react differently based on your level. Oh. So it's like they'll all be there. Like they have new things when you come out of the vault that'll be there. The maps changed, locations have been added. 2 factions have been added now will be added to the game. 2 like really interesting factions will be added. One's a raider faction, the other one's a more kind of civilized faction. But like an NPC, for example, there's an intro NPC when you come out of the vault that talks to you.
Yeah.
And apparently her reaction will be different based on your level. So if you're new, they'll like react like you're new. They're like, oh, you don't look like you're really whatever. Obviously I didn't see exactly everything from both point of views. Yeah. I only saw it from the intro one.
Like you got a big dick, sir.
But the higher level NPCs, they're like, yeah, if you go up at a higher level, she'll like treat it like you're a higher level. Like, okay, you're this pretty advanced person. And they'll react different, which I think is something unique because no other Fallout has really done that. Like they've reacted to things, but they're usually meant to react that way because they're that progressed in the game. They're not going to be like you're not going to go up to Caesar and be like, oh, look at this little squirt that I'm facing, right? Like you've obviously disrupted a lot of his shit. So it's interesting to see that. But the biggest thing they did was just dialogue. Like the NPCs, they'll introduce new quests, obviously, and you'll feel like you're doing quests. they had these caravan escorts, and now those caravan escorts won't just be Brahmin that you're taking to nowhere because there's nowhere to take a caravan.
Yeah, and there's no one to bring it to.
But you'll be actually escorting people with the caravan. A few other missions they're changing with regards to just the NPCs being added to it. But I think the cool thing is still that interior design, because it's like everything is unique to you. They're now developing the game so that although it's an MMO, or I guess it's kind of an MMO, not really, they're introducing an individualized story to it so that only you and your teammates that you're in a team with can go into that building and experience what you experience.
Right.
But with the dialogue options, this is where, Peter, if you can bring up the video, I'll kind of get to the scene where they have it.
You never sent it?
I sent it on Facebook. The article has the video on it.
Whatever happened to the whole like controversy?
It's on Live Connection, Peter.
With the nukes in that game.
Sorry?
Whatever happened to that controversy? Because wasn't that like completely broken?
Like, they've
fixed
that. They fixed that quite a while ago. So it's like,
how does that work now?
I mean, Eric and I have never launched a nuke. So I can't tell you entirely, to be honest, but I know that they had an update that came out recently, and a lot of the people on the Fallout Reddits have been saying that the patches have done really well with it.
Do you guys have your own your own world that you do, or is it like you just join a random server?
You join a random server.
Okay.
So Peter, go to go through the.
How does that work?
Go quite up.
Base,
go back.
How do you keep
a
a base?
What the hell is that? Is that a death claw?
A little bit forward. No, it's not a death claw.
Is this even Fallout?
There, click there and then pause it. So what they've done, ignore this. It's their beta. They've mentioned that. What they've done with a lot of the dialogue options is that not only will they have the
that's probably going to be what they look like.
Probably. What they've done with the dialogue options is they've not only incorporated what they've done in the past, where it's like if you have, they've made the special more impactful on your conversations. They've made them impactful on each other. So from my understanding, when I was watching this, basically what they've done is that they have a negative connotation. So in the red, it'll be like your skills, you're dumb enough, but your charisma is high enough that you can make a dumb statement, or your charisma may be too low and you can make a dumb statement, and the NPCs will react to it. But it's usually in humor, so they kind of play off the fact that you're not good or you are good. The other thing that they've done is in past Fallouts, if you didn't have a skill, like if your charisma wasn't high enough, they'd still show the option. It would just be blacked out.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They're bringing that back so that if you have played in a different way.
Oh, God, that looks terrible.
If they've played in a different way, they've you can see different results. So you can see, maybe if I build a new character, I can tailor it more towards charisma, and I'll have a lot more range of skills.
That's very Outer Worlds, isn't it?
I see they've brought back the old dialogue option tree too, like you were saying.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about it, and that's what I was looking forward to. They've also brought out locked doors and shit like that, so it's like you can see, or locked other options that you can see where you could have gone. So it's like, if you had this... if you had charisma here, or if you had intelligence here, if you had medicine here, you could have seen these specific outcomes, or you could have gone this way with it. I don't know. I just think that they're bringing back to some of the stuff they really enjoyed with regards to graphics of characters and things like that. I mean, you're also limited by the game itself.
This guy looks better than the girl did.
Yeah.
That's because he's supposed to look ugly.
But like, again, you're limited by the game itself. So my hope is that a lot of this stuff comes through, and even that guy looks better.
No subtitles.
You can turn on subtitles.
I know, but I'm just surprised they're not doing it for the...
Yeah. That's because there's actual audio to it.
Well, I know, but they're also talking.
It's true.
Why is he wearing a hat? That's
what
I
type
want
of
to
question is that?
Why is he wearing a hat? What's the
Why are
context?
all three of you wearing hats?
Because we're promoting Live Connection.
It's in the sun.
Jared, question.
Yeah.
Is that negative dialogue option, the one in the red?
Yeah.
Does it like, so it's normally for humor basis, would it give you the opportunity to make like a negative outcome in certain scenarios? Like, does it say if you see in the red, like, I'm gonna kill your dumb butt? Like, is that like an
they're
option
making
it's
it they're
giving you?
making the dialogue actually mean something.
Yeah.
So what in Fallout 4, that was another thing they criticized coming from New Vegas to Fallout 4 was that your options really didn't impact until the very end. Like until you actually wiped out the railroad, or you got people to cooperate. Your outcomes didn't really matter. You could just fucking go between both factions, which in this one you can as well. But from my understanding, the factions aren't directly at conflict with each other,
right?
Till the end of the quest line, based on what they were saying. So that makes a little more sense with it. It's kind of like New Vegas, where you're kind of just that middleman between Caesar's Legion and the NCR until you make a decision at the end.
Right.
But your things can still impact. Like you can still screw someone over, and it changes the story a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's where they're taking those interior areas where it's just you that go in.
Okay.
Where they're seeing a very individualized experience based on your past decisions. So if you start screwing over a faction, it's not like all of a sudden for everyone else the faction just absolutely messing with you. But in those areas, you'll see the big changes. Because I mean, you also have to be careful with the fact that it is a server that is running multiple people on it. You can't be like, oh, someone screwed over the Foundation, which is one of the factions.
That's it.
That's it. Everyone is on the Foundation's naughty list.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
So it's just, I like where they're going with it. Regardless of graphics aside, I've kind of given up for graphics of this generation of Fallout, to be 100% honest. I wasn't really worried about that. I just want the game to be fun. Like that's more what I'm looking for. And regardless of this other stuff, they're also, and it's hard to, in a generation where I feel like graphics are some of the most important things, and design look of the game is some of the most important aspects of it.
Well, like Bethesda's been using the same engine, for 2 generations now.
And from what they said, they're changing it for Elder Scrolls 6.
More than 2 generations.
But I agree.
Wow, from Morrowind?
Yeah, it's the same
They just keep like upgrading it and like making it capable.
The issue is that it was ahead of its time when it came out, and they basically beat it to death until it wasn't.
Pretty much they have to flip the breaker back on every time they run it for more than an hour.
But I don't know.
Come on, we'll get more juice out of you. Come on, dude.
Overall, based on what they talked about on here, I actually think that the fixes they have for the game are going to make it a pretty good game. Like, I don't know. It has fun aspects. It was boring when you're on your own because you had nothing there.
Yeah.
But this will make it so that individualized play is a little more exciting. It also feels like it will give it purpose to the game. The other thing that's interesting, and this is just kind of a side note from what they were talking about, apparently the raiders aren't quite like what other raiders are. These raiders, there's a bunch of backstory that they didn't want to ruin the game, right? But essentially, these raiders weren't aggressive. They wanted to just be left alone.
Peaceful protesting raiders?
They wanted to be left alone. So a lot of the time when you go to raider camps in past Fallout games, you know it's a raiders camp because you have a fucking body hanging from a rope or something. Or a body part hanging in a cage or something like that.
Very clearly bad guys.
Yeah, like very clearly outlined. They hang them to get people to avoid them. I don't know the story behind them, so I feel like once you actually learn that, it should make a little more sense than it just seems like it's like, oh, they just hang dead bodies. That's not threatening at all. They're peaceful individuals. But I think one other thing they said they are changing is a lot of the time they're changing random spawns. So there's a lot of times where, I think there's a few times even Eric and I were playing, where we would go and we'd be walking through somewhere that had been cleared, and then all of a sudden we'd be fine, and then all of a sudden there's just a ton of enemies just spawned right around us, and then you just absolutely, you make it out because usually it's scaled to your level, so is what it is, but it's still quite annoying when you're like, you feel comfortable and all of a sudden, poof, here's a horde of super mutants or ghouls that have now come to ruin your day, right?
It's like a monster house in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. You just walk into a room with a lot of items.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yay, and then dun, 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 dun.
I would always get...
Oh, my gosh.
Those are impossible to get through sometimes.
Overall, I think the additions they're going to add to it in the Wastelanders update is going to be good. They're adding a few new weapons. The plasma cutters are coming back from Fallout 1. I think it was the last time they were there.
From Dead Space?
No. Well, there too, I guess. Fair enough. Touche, Peter. Touche. That was also the best gun in fucking Dead Space.
It was.
Plasma cutter? The one you start with, right?
Yeah. Because once you upgrade it...
My freaking hero.
The other thing they're bringing in is a bow, and apparently the bow has like different aspects, different things you can develop for it. It looked interesting. I'm curious. I like games that have bows because usually if they incorporate things like penetration and where it can stick something to a wall, it can be quite entertaining.
A while ago, there was like this huge trend having bows in games. You guys remember that?
Turok had that. The new one that came out a while back.
Oh, I forgot that was a thing.
Probably because of the freaking Hunger Games.
Yeah.
That's
Probably
why.
Probably,
Yeah.
honestly, that's.
Yeah.
I think that's true. Actually.
Is that kind of the? Did Hunger Games come out 2010?
Yeah, That's right when Hunger Games. Was,
Really?
like,
Is it
massive.
that old?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty old.
Well,
I
it was
mean,
like 2010 to 2014 is when all the movies came out.
The saga.
The 4 movies. Once
Yeah,
a year.
2010. Dang. No, 2012.
Oh, okay, well, it's still
That's
around
still
that era. Yeah,
8 years
I
old.
the books were big too, mind you, at that same time, like before the movies. So
I was playing the other day because I'm trying to find a very specific holotape that says a very specific thing that I need for the video, for my locations video. And there's so much, like, I hope they change this as well. There's so much shit in the world that just doesn't matter. Like, there's so much stuff that doesn't matter. I like the map, and they said they're changing how the map works and to make it a little better. But I do kind of like that it's not just the look on your Pip-Boy and you have the map of the world. I kind of like the graphic map they use in Fallout 76. But yeah, I don't know. There's definitely some things that need to be added, and they said they're gonna add. So hopefully it's added in the right way and it's added in a good way. Again, that's super subjective because what I like isn't necessarily what Peter likes or whatever.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I don't know. I'm hopeful for it now. I'm looking forward to it. This is also like, again, starting towards Elder Scrolls 6 and possible other Fallouts coming out.
Well,
Is like,
the
this is,
future.
you want to see that they're starting an upswing. So when those games come out, it's not, and I know they've probably been in development for
A long
time.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm hoping that they take this and
move
go
it
with
forward.
it.
Yeah.
They kind of have to. I mean, they really shot themselves in the foot with this game, and it's really good to see that they're actually trying to fix it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're not just abandoning it and just saying, okay, well, sorry, we messed up. Like that, and we're seeing that a lot these days.
And
Yeah.
Well,
We're in the age of like games coming out unfinished and then like being redeemed and then ending up as like some of the most beloved games, like Sea of Thieves, No Man's Sky,
Even Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Scrolls Online's a
yeah,
good
that's
one.
right.
Yeah, all these games came out unfinished and people hated, and now, I mean, put that away, Peter. I don't want to see what's the
Anthem?
game? Yeah, I don't want to see the
Well, like,
Anthem
it was
up
just
there.
like how it was just its 1 year anniversary. The game did nothing.
Yeah,
it,
see,
it wasn't mentioned at all.
Yeah,
like-
and Anthem's a great example of one of those games that was left at the
Yeah.
grocery store.
mind
The
you.
one thing that they said with this, and this one that they said specifically, is they wanted to, is Bethesda's, I mean, they've said this before, but I think now is a little more meaningful because they've been shit on so much.
Yeah.
Is they've openly said that they're going to use this one and they're going to make adjustments with it based on feedback from the community.
That's awesome.
So they said that they're going to do their best to make the game more playable for not only the people that currently play it,
Yeah.
but make it better for the people who have outright just said that I'm not getting this game because of so and so.
Yeah.
So which I mean, I give them a lot of credit, you know, in the face of being shit on, which I mean they have been. I think they've been shit on besides
Mercilessly.
EA, which is now kind of doing a little bit of a teetery
360 as
upswing.
well.
They've been probably shit on the most of any company, and I think
Yeah.
it's going to be I'm hopeful that they actually mean that and they do take in consideration community feedback. I mean, the Fallout Reddit is one of those things that there's more people on there complaining about I mean, you also have like the inner wars where they're like, Fallout New Vegas is the best, blah, blah, blah. But they have actual meaningful threads that are like things that we'd like to see in Fallout 5,
Yeah,
things we'd like to
yeah.
see based in this game to make it better.
Yeah.
And I hope they start looking at those things because those usually get that's the Fallout community is very knit, and they kind of, every page that is Fallout usually has quite a few people involved in it, and they're always talking about stuff like that. So I'm hoping that they kind of go around and take feedback from that and actually utilize it in the game and make Fallout 76, because the idea is great. Like, having an MMO Fallout is a great idea. They just didn't execute it in the way that I think most fans wanted them to. They may have executed the way they wanted to,
Yeah,
but not the way that their fans wanted them
Yeah.
to.
Well, they executed it in a way where what they were going for was a little out of reach, I feel like.
Yeah.
And they kind of just screwed up on that.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, Fallout 76 is probably like a really good testing ground for them now. For anything they want to do in future Fallout games, why not just patch it into Fallout 76 and see how people react to it?
Well,
What's the harm in that?
One of the biggest things they've been talking about on a lot of the threads for people is talking about regards like a multiplayer within Fallout 4. So they always would use this as the example. They're like, well, all we really wanted when people were talking multiplayer with Fallout, all they really wanted was to have like, I want to have my friends come into my world that I'm playing in and be able to see my settlements and help me with missions and all that kind of stuff. And I think if they take that bit of feedback and put it into Fallout 5, like I'd love to play a Fallout where it's just me and my friends. Like I don't need a bunch of random people.
No, I don't care.
There's
about
enough
randoms.
MMO people out there that games that you to fill the gap for that.
Yeah.
But to have like just a group of 4 or 5, or just even make it not limited to that, make it limited to like maybe 12.
Yeah.
And then, but they're 12 of your friends. You're in the game, but it's 12 people that you want to play with. Not.
I find a lot of like a lot of games don't design for the idea that like maybe you want to just play this game with your core group of friends and you don't care about playing with the random strangers online. Like they don't. They don't really do that in game design. They don't really take that into consideration. It's either single player or playing with loads of people, random people online. There's no like, this is literally designed for you to like play with like your friends, your friend group of like 5 to 6 people. You know?
Yeah, because I think it could have been a great game if you did that. Like
Left 4 Dead's like designed for that pretty much.
Yeah,
which is nice, and that's why I feel like that's one of the reasons Left 4 Dead was so appealing to a lot of people. I mean,
Left 4 Dead's an
it was a
awesome
fun
franchise.
game to begin with, but I felt like those little things were good aspects that drew in more appeal.
Yeah.
But
is Fallout 76 on Game Pass right now?
no,
It's not. I swear I heard that it was. I might just be
maybe
crazy.
Fallout 4
I
is.
think you were
Fallout 4,
allowed.
Fallout 3, and Fallout New Vegas are all on Game Pass.
I think when they came out with the Battle Royale update for Fallout 76, I think they had a thing where if you had Game Pass, you could play it for free for like a week or something.
Oh.
When that update came out, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if that's exactly
I
what
feel like
happened.
after this update releases, they'll probably see how sales go, and then they might flop it over.
I was convinced that it was on Game Pass. I don't really want to have to buy it, but I assume I could probably get it on sale at some point because they're just like, please buy this game, please.
Yeah.
Please. Do you want to play Fallout 76, Jared?
I've already been playing it.
Do you want to play it with me though?
Sure. I
Let's
mean, I've been
freaking go.
playing. Eric and I played occasionally. I played on my own occasionally.
I don't want to play it with you,
Dude,
man.
I think we've got a real serious idea on our hands, Jared. We're gonna, when this Wastelanders update comes out, we're gonna do the master and the.
Okay, I want to point out right now. I want to point this out right now that I have not played this game enough to consider myself a master. Me and Eric are maybe level 14 or something.
But you're the Fallout guy.
Probably lower.
You're the guy.
Yeah.
You're the guy. You're the guy.
Come on, dude.
That's
You're
a
the guy.
game.
You might. Okay, so sure, you're not like level 100 or anything, but you know Fallout. Do you know?
Are
It's like
any of us
literally.
really the guy when it comes to any particular game.
Yeah.
Well, not
I love how targeted that was at Matt. And then I feel like there's a few fair games that Eric can be like, I'm the guy. I kind of know my shit.
no, none of us are the guy.
I also feel like Peter with some indie games could be like, yeah, I'm the guy. I kind of know this game.
None of
He's
us are the
Indie
guy.
Peter.
Come on, are any of us playing games professionally? No.
yes.
I feel
we have a
like
YouTube channel.
I
Are
feel
we-
like
we're not-
I'm the guy for Mass Effect.
Yeah.
You're not the guy for Mass
Yeah.
Effect.
Wow.
There was a
You heard it
multiplayer
here
in
first. I'm
Well,
not a
there's
gamer.
always going to be someone better than you.
that. Yeah,
Um,
exactly, Peter.
What if you're the best?
You're not going to be the best.
Then someone's being born right now. That's gonna beat you.
It's a dice
My
roll
little-
if you're the best. And sorry, that's a very low percentage. So I can confidently
Well,
say.
maybe if we're using your dice, but if we're using anyone else's dice, the percentage goes up.
Yeah, because Peter's got some whack dice, I guess.
you got weighted die.
My D&D dice have a bad track record. Let's just say that.
Throw them out. Get a new set.
No,
He's-
no. I'm
I have to give Peter credit. He's stuck with them, and no
For
matter
the
how
campaign.
many people have told him to get new dice, or even offered to let him use their dice,
No.
he turns it away.
that character has that dice. That's his fate. You can't change that.
Wow, this is the longest a piece of my hair has ever gotten on the front in like 5 years.
New world record.
What a
Look how long this
Evan,
that's
bang
why
hair
you're
is.
you're the guy of your hair.
Look how long this bang hair is. I got it.
No one
I
can
gotta
see it.
safeguard that.
I can barely see it. And I'm sitting
Yeah,
close
I know.
to you.
Well, it's blonde.
I
It came down to my freaking eyeball, man. It's long
Wow.
for me.
But yeah, that's all I had on that one. I just was watching that and I was like, oh, that added some hopefulness to the Fallout 76 universe.
It would be cool to see it get turned around. It would be cool to look at Fallout 76 in a year or two from now and be like, actually a pretty good game.
Yeah, look at Hello Games. Like, they really turned that game around. And Sea of Thieves is really fun to play, even still.
They shouldn't launch broken or empty though.
Yeah, but I think that's just the reality that we live in now. Everyone's just trying to push their games out as fast as possible, and especially for newer developers who are like more, they're
Hello Games was not a new developer.
Well, yeah, I know that they came out with other games, but
successful games,
but tackling a new genre, right? They're being extremely ambitious,
Yeah.
Did you watch that video I sent you guys about the internet historian on that?
I actually had watched it before you sent the link.
Yeah, that video. Well,
big brain. I'm current with the trends. I study culture.
Just trying to have a good conversation with my friend Peter, and he just comes in.
Yeah. Do you want me to lie? Yes. Evan showed me the light.
Is that how your and Matt's conversation? You were talking about how you came in. You're like, we founded this. I mean, Matt found it first, and then I came in, but I watched it.
Yeah, but I was there when he made the realization.
I only showed you internet historian, mean great.
You did, which I didn't realize until after I started going through his catalog that was the same guy as I was like, oh shit, that's this guy, the capture the flag guy. No, but yeah, that video does. I think really that video does a good job of explaining how that game ended up the way it did.
Very true.
Which video and which game? Sorry,
it's No Man's Sky. The video goes over the launch and how really the reason why everyone thought that they lied is because the main guy that was just bad at giving interviews. He never technically lied to anybody. He just was like really awkward, being like, okay, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's possible. Yeah. And so people hear, they're like, it's in the game.
Yeah.
It's in the game.
Yeah. No, seriously, give it a watch. It's really well done. It's funny.
It's like an hour long, though.
It's a long video, but it's really good.
It'd be good to know more about it. I'm really fascinated by No Man's Sky because I remember when Eric first started telling us that he got back into the game and that he's been liking it, I kind of took it with a grain of salt because I'm like, I thought that game sucked.
Because Eric's not the guy.
Yeah.
Eric's not the guy. Eric doesn't know a good game.
If being the guy means telling the truth.
Eric said something, I took it with a grain of salt.
Can you see Eric and Peter's camera? Yeah, you can. Poor Eric's just sitting there, can't respond back.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call him a liar. I just meant he's like, they actually did well. And I was like, well, that's interesting because I thought the game blew chunks.
You guys think Jack's doing anything fun in Australia that he can tell us about?
He's not the guy.
Jack's not the Australian guy.
Stop. Okay,
I'm the Australian.
Stop. You need to understand being the guy about something is sacred, and I don't want.
What?
I said it one fucking time. I said it one time, and now you chuckle fucks are like, dude, you're the guy.
You guys are just mining away at him until finally you got to the core.
Being the guy is a really important thing in relation to a thing.
We just had such a lovely, tame, structured podcast with each other, and it's all just falling apart at the end.
I'm serious, dog.
It's all just falling apart.
I talk about someone or something being the guy all the time, and now it's something we make fun of. No,
wait,
don't ever talk shit about the guy or being the guy or the status of the guy.
Who is the guy?
You're the Fallout guy.
What does it even mean?
You're the engineering guy.
Is that all I am?
I don't fucking know. I don't know anything
me
about
off
you.
of something that I can't even do properly.
You're just a piece of paper.
You're the team buddies guy.
Oh my god! Come on, man.
Guy, and I'm the Pokemon guy.
You're the Pokemon
taking
guy.
that away anytime soon.
You get to be the Pokemon guy, and I'm the fucking team buddy guy.
Yeah.
Really?
Eric's just the guy.
I get a freaking game that I do love, but that's all I get.
Actually, Eric, I have a bone to pick with you. I'm the ukulele guy.
A fierce competition to see who is the ukulele guy.
And Peter, I'm actually the indie guy.
Can I be? See, Jared's the shorts guy. You know, we know that.
That's fair.
But are we getting shut down?
No.
Is
Yes, it is the production shut down. But you can finish your conversation.
Is production shutting us down? He was threatening us again.
I'm serious. I'm not cool with that gun, man.
Peter's the threatening guy.
I've decided this is the signal indicator from now on.
For what?
When I'm putting this up,
except even when I took it still was the signaling.
That was unholy. What you
Don't
did.
point that thing at us.
It's just
that was unholy. You're unholy.
It was
Peter's the threatening guy.
You can't say that, Jared.
Peter's
going too far.
I just did.
Peter's
Twitch, please
so
don't ban us.
unholy that anytime he has a bucket and a hole gets formed in the bucket, it instantly heals itself because Peter's that unholy.
This is now the Unholy Podcast.
Welcome to the Unholy Podcast.
Shuckle is asking what us losers are talking about.
Well, originally we were talking about some very, very intellectual topics, but now we're currently talking about who is the guy.
Who is the guy?
No,
You don't know the guy.
Actually, we're actually talking about ending the podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna. Peter is the guy for ending the podcast. Peter, you want to take it home?
But I've ended
All right.
the podcast
Don't forget to mention
before,
lots
too.
of things.
To take it home, I'll just grab all this stuff and head out.
Oh, you're not funny. You're the guy at not being funny. That's you.
Yeah.
That's you. Don't make a joke ever again. Just end this podcast so I can strangle you once the camera goes down.
Wow.
Well,
All right, so if Peter ever goes disappeared.
Peter, hold
oh my
that.
God.
Yeah,
that
if
What
gun.
kind of English did I just
I'm gonna go disappeared now.
Peter, sleep with that gun.
Graydon's
tonight.
not even here.
Well, if you guys don't want to see me get strangled, leave a like, subscribe, save my life.
Dude,
God damn it, Live
one's gonna
Connection shut
this
down.
video. Yeah. No one's gonna subscribe to us ever again.
Yeah, shit.
We stream 5 days a week. If you want to see us again, we'll be live tomorrow. Me and Eric doing more Far Cry, I assume. Then Tuesday, Thursday.
Eric, I'm actually playing ukulele tomorrow.
How? All right.
Don't forget to join the Discord in the link using the links below.
Join the connected.
Tomorrow's self-promotion Monday, so get ready. If you want to share your stuff with our community, come on into the Discord.
So I'm the reason why Shuckle doesn't subscribe with Twitch Prime.
Oh.
Eric just said that sounds about right. That's
I just want to make amends with Eric. I have it on my dashboard installed, so we can talk about what it looks like from there.
analyze the art with like a fine wine. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see how it's changed.
You
right.
like accidentally hit A and open the game. You're like, no. Turn it off.
Half a second time played. No.
Okay, see you later, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy your Sunday. What community? You be quiet, Chuckle.